right, welcome to Between Two Feathers, a not-so-serious interview series talking about some pretty important stuff. It's been a little while since we've joined you here. You've got Stacey Geddes, Manager of Support. Hi. And we've got Bryan Chapman here, our Manager of Success. We're going to do a quick review for you for July and August. Hopefully you've all been out enjoying the sun, the sunshine, all the good time with family and friends, such as ourselves. So without further ado, let's jump in and see what Gradient's been up to over the summer. Now, we'll go over some bugs and improvements. We've got lots of integrations that have come out, and then we'll take a peek at that roadmap. We'll see what Bryan's got to tell us. For the bugs that we have squashed, we've been busy. So some service cards that were actioned would reappear until the page had been refreshed. This was a fun one. You would action the service card and then you'd be like, wait a second, didn't I already do that? And if you tried to action it again, you would get an error. So it was confusing, but thankfully minimally impactful in the reconciliation end of the world. So very happy to have that one, cross the line. The adjust model, dismissing a card from that screen simply just wouldn't work. So if we were up in there and we hit dismiss, it was just no dice. So that has been removed, corrected and reworked there for us. List view, when you would group the cards, it would minimize the field of view that you had open. That was pretty impactful for those that love that view. So really, really glad that we have that one across the line. A fun one we use fun is flippantly in Flocktown here. Case sensitivity did prevent some people from having a smooth login issue, and this was one on our back end. That when users would go to log in, they would be greeted with a sign-up page when they had active accounts. So not a great experience. Thank you for your patience if you were one of the few that did experience that, but we got that one corrected there pretty quickly. Cloud Blue had some PSA mapping ID issues that we got crossed the line and corrected there for you. And for alerts, when you had Breach Secure Now going, the integration just didn't show active. So when you go to your integrations card, you had no idea if you had it connected or not. And that has also been cleared up for us. One that I want to take a minute to speak to, and Bryan may go into some depth on, that's up to you here, is this last one I've got on this particular slide. And this has been a challenge for us, and I think for any of our partners that are over in the EMEA area, and that is a time zone issue. It's this particular to Autotask PSA for those that have experienced it. But in short, due to how the things get programmed in UTC time and the changeover between time zones and whatnot, when you make a change, they actually come across on the wrong day. This is an active issue that we are working with Autotask to look into, and unfortunately is currently a limitation of how that software is built. Bryan, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would just go ahead and say that this has been something that has definitely been a priority of ours. We're working with the folks at Autotask to address this because we've verbatim developed our Autotask integration to their documentation, to their best requirements. So this is where it's some of it's a little out of our hands, but either way, we're quickly trying to address this as fast as we can. And just to put your mind at ease too, this is more or less around our bulk set effective date. So this is where if you multi-select or select all and set a different effective date than the actual default date for any Autotask users, that's where you'll come across these issues. And it's just to do with time zones, and there's multiple factors involved too. It's not just the Autotask end of things, where Autotask isn't quite applying these changes based on how they've documented these. But we're hoping to get this addressed as soon as possible. But just know that just be a little wary when it comes to if you're an EMEA partner or an APAC member, and you're bulk selecting and setting an effective date to like the month prior or something like that. Just be wary of that. You might come across those time zone issues. So
Well said. Well said.
That's about it.
Awesome. So to continue along then, we can jump into some of our integrations. So we've launched, a lot of integrations. If we look back at June, July, August, and even here coming into the first, week or so into September. Rapidly, we're building these out. We're releasing them, nearly weekly at this point. And so there's been many touch-ups done over the summer. So what I wanted to do here was highlight some of the more notable ones that we've done. And then just before I do that, to each of the partners that have taken the time to connect these integrations, that had great experiences, thanks for reaching out and letting us know. And for those that did have little road bumps along the way, we've done many little tweaks and improvements and URL changes, and it's been wonderful to get those out and upgraded. Some of the more notable ones, though, is we did have an issue where you were not able to access custom integrations if you were subscribed to Alerts Pro or Billing Pro singularly, just as one kind of section of them, and that was corrected as soon as it was, recognized. The Ninja RMN integration had or has an issue where you were unable to authenticate with our current set of instructions if you were on the newer or updated version of Ninja. Now we do have updated documentation on how to get around that and what not to get in. So again, thank you. For Enable Co, we did have some 365 user SKUs that were pulling in incorrectly. That has been updated and corrected. And then for Sentinel-1, there was some issues around not syncing in usage for Singularity Complete and Singularity Control, and those have been updated as well on the back end to be pulling in correctly. The last one that I'll mention that was notable would be around the Aavik integration, pulling in devices that were marked as non-billable or unmanaged, and those have been updated there as well. So as I've said, and Bryan, I don't know if you have any comments you want to add, there's been many little tweaks, improvements, changes, and there'll continue to be as these are coming out. The biggest thing, though, is if you don't see an integration that is not on our page, let us know. We are actively adding more, recruiting out to these vendors and making this wonderful. Did you have anything you wanted to add there in regards to these fixes that have gone out?
Yeah, I mean, I would just mention that many of these things have surfaced as a result of you reaching out to us, and we've some of which aren't even listed here, like when it comes to adding additional services or things to that nature. Like, so this is really where we have the flexibility. We've gone out and built many of these integrations ourselves, and in doing so, we might lack that domain knowledge, or you bill entirely differently and you just need that extra service. Ninja One is a great example of that, in which many people go to their RMM for their source of truth. So, and in doing so, they might have different ways about going about reconciling their workstations or devices or whatnot. So, thanks to your feedback, we're able to not only improve these vendor integrations overall, Aavik being one of them, and we had no idea there was an ability to flag a billable device as unmanaged. And so thanks to your feedback, we're able to quickly turn around on these things within weeks time or much sooner and deliver. And so this is really where we're able to deliver in that same billing cycle, so you're not really impacted at all, so you can get those invoices out on time and whatnot. So it really goes to show that we're actively listening, we have open ears, and we're ready to act on these things as soon as possible.
Well said. Speaking of ready to act on things as soon as possible, what a great way to segue over to hot fixes. So when things need to be corrected a little sooner than the next release date, there are occasions where we will push them through as a hot fix. And as of course, we'll always mention them here so that we can see kind of what's been done and show you just our commitment to making sure that things are running at the top end at all times. So on that end, we did disable bulk selection feature to implement a fix that came out. So when you logged into the tool, you would just notice the button was grayed out. Anytime you'll notice something like that, it's usually done extremely temporarily and while we're investigating, or in this case, putting out a fix immediately for a situation. The do not update cost unless edited was a fix that went out as well. So that change was made the day that we recognized an issue in regards to how some adjust cards were being handled for a specific situation. And we were able to immediately recognize, correct, stop, and release that out. The AVIC correction for total billable devices count was something we were able to get across the line quite quickly, as well as, nearing month end, partners were needing that out faster than our release date, and it was a big enough correction to get it there. One thing we noted as well was we fixed an issue with the weekly integration syncs not running. So each week we do push in, on the weekend, we make sure all of your connected integrations receive a fresh, dose of count, so that anytime you log in, you've got some clear data. And it was brought to, we recognize that this was not currently running, and we did put a fix out immediately to make sure all partners had updated information. We'll show you a couple of things a little later on about our viewpoints as well that make that a little easier to see when things have synced and things that are coming in our future as well. We did have a change or an issue come up where Kaseya was not able to actually connect for a brief period of time, and this was due to an options class change in regards to the API. Well, as soon as that was, located again, we were able to get that corrected. And then finally, we had some NinjaOne quantity discrepancies that were pushed across the line. So I just want to highlight that, again, when these come out, these are due to, issues that are found or whatnot, but due to our dedication to get these out immediately, to ensure your billing is accurate, to ensure that our platform is stable, to ensure that there's no question to what you're doing. So yeah, there's kind of the breakdown on those. And if you ever have any question about anything you see here or on our release notes, our website, anything, feel free to reach out. You can reach out to us at any time in support, or to Bryan, or to really anyone on our team, and we'd be happy to address or answer any questions on that. So with that being said,
it seems like it's a lot of hot fixes, and I'll just point out that I think you already mentioned this, Stacey, is like, although it might seem like a lot, it just really goes to show that as simple as something like AVIC and correcting the total buildable device count or whatnot, it just goes to show that if we're able to squeak this in and it is super impactful for you, we'll try our best to get it across the line before our weekly release, which is usually the afternoon of Wednesday every week. So that's where raise those to our attention, and we'll advocate for you. And this is what it's all about. And let's face it, when it comes to billing, you need those to work, and you need it where it work now. So if need be, we'll try our best to get those things across the line as fast as possible if it's super impactful. Yeah.
Speaking of hot fixes and hot things like summer weather.
Yes.
Bryan, what was your favorite thing you got to do this summer outside of work? How did you relax this summer in the heat?
Oh man. If anyone is geographically inclined, I went to Kelowna in British Columbia, Canada. Swam in Lake Okanagan there. Best time. It's often come to be like a family kind of retreat every year. So love going out into the shoe swaps and the Okanagan there and eat myself some fresh BC fruit. The peaches out there are unreal. But anyhow, yeah, that's my highlight of the summer for sure.
Beautiful landscape out there too. Beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. So it's wine country for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I figure it's fun. We've all had summer. Everyone fits in their vacations and, taking a peek at what was there. As for myself, probably the highlight, although not in hot weather, is I did get to take myself and my children to experience Cirque du Soleil. We got to go see the circus and the performers, and if we could have a tenth of their flexibility, the world would be amazing. So. Yeah. With that, let's talk about new integrations. So we just alluded to the fact that we've launched so many integrations over the summer, with more coming. Let's highlight a couple of the ones that have come out and that, are on the platform now. So, we've got Duo Security, Sophos, Keeper, CyberDrain, Fort Meso, Datto SaaS Protection, and more. Is there anything you want to highlight specifically about any one of these there, Bryan?
Honestly, it's just goes to show that we're able to punch these out at rapid pace now. Um, we've definitely in the back end improved things, and we developed our TypeScript and PowerShell SDK. So we're not only creating custom integrations in the back end to kind of further support your billing needs, but we're converting those to our hosted environment. So it's really awesome to see. The one caveat here is that asterisk next to Sofo Central. The only reason being is that by the time you go to review this recording, this is probably going to be out and readily available. So we just had some beta partners go through that, and it looks really promising. Things are looking really great on that front. Cyber Drain is or SIP, I should say, is a really special one. If any of you know, Calvin Tegelar is probably one of the biggest spokespeople or advocates within the channel. He's the CEO and creator of SIP, and they punched this integration out. And so it's an alerts and billing integration. So you can tap into your Microsoft tenants and pull all your licensing and alerts all through to your PSA. It's a really great integration. It's a custom integration because it is open source. This is where, or I should rather say, SIP is open source. So due to security, Kelvin and the team there at SIP just wanted to make sure that it goes through our custom hosted. So we're not sharing any secrets or anything like that. So that being said, check that out. If you're not already a SIP partner, check them out. They have a free plan. You can host it yourself. And they also have a really inexpensive hosted solution as well for those that are interested in a Microsoft 365 management portal. It's fantastic. Aside from that, we're really excited about Keeper 2. That was an external integration in which the folks at Keeper Security built that integration. Really special one in the fact that let's face it, if you're reselling password managers, not very many of them have an MSP reseller portal like Keeper, where you can then synchronize usage. And let's face it, one of the last things that comes to mind is how resellers are going to resell their licenses to their clients. So that billing integration is really sought after. And if you're a Keeper partner or checking out a password manager, check out Keeper Security. They're one of the best. And then, yeah, let's go on to the next slide here, because I don't know if there's anything else worth mentioning there, but I do want to highlight some new features.
Yeah, let's highlight those new features. And before we even show them, I just want to say that these new features, I almost want to say are due to Bryan. And what I mean by that is he is the voice of the partners. And he's the one on the phone with you guys, doing onboardings and quarterly calls and touching base and hearing this feedback. This screen's great, but this screen's wonderful. What's this showing me here? And Bryan works tirelessly to take all that feedback information, put it into the system so that our teams internally can prioritize. And I'll let him show you on the next screen here, just some of those, improvements that are coming out that are just, flocktastic. So we'll start with PSA and vendor tags.
Yeah, and quite honestly, big or small, we want to hear it all. And so this is where I didn't mean to rhyme there, but I did.
Well done.
Yeah. So one of them in particular was just the fact that when we went to onboard new partners to our billing module, many of the questions came around, what's my PSA and vendor quantity? Like, which means which? And so as simple as adding a PSA and vendor tag, it goes a long way. So what you'll notice that you'll see is on those service cards within our card view, a PSA and vendor tag. And this is really meant to highlight exactly what you're seeing, so you're not questioning as to which is which. And what's important here is that you'll see a little plug disconnected symbol next to the vendor tag if you do not have any synchronized data. So this really just highlights the fact that you need to go in, connected integration, import data, and whatnot. We're going to expand on top of this too to include the last sync date for your PSA and vendor. So again, just trying to create greater confidence in approving adjustments within Synthesize. And really, it kind of has a nice segue into all the feature enhancements that we're doing in behind the scenes, which I'll talk to you about shortly. Speaking of which, the vendor tags, if you go to the next slide here, we're actually going to be adding that to our list view very soon. So by the time you're even listening to this as well, we'll probably have added these quality of life improvements to our list view. So we're replicating what we had just released with our card view and including the PSA vendor tags as well there. And we're actually going to throw in the change quantity. So this is really important because many questions around not only the PSA vendor quantities, but like if I were to approve, what happens? And so to accommodate that and to again give you greater click confidence in making these approvals, we're adding the change column in there. So it's really evident as to what's happening when you approve those changes. So as you can see, like that Dr. Jones fine antiquities row, you'll find that like the PSA quantity is 2, the vendor quantity is 4. And again, we're showing apples to apples, total quantity to total quantity. And we want to make sure that we're showing that change. So in that circumstance, that scenario, we're actually going up by 2 units. So if you were to approve that, of course, we go back and immediately right back to your PSA, that contract line item, and update +2. So again, we're trying to make this a little bit more intuitive, user-friendly, and these quality of life improvements will hopefully really paint the picture as to all those adjustments and whatnot. So thanks to your feedback, really just small little things, but they have a big impact. And so I appreciate all your feedback there.
I think, Bryan, one point that too that's quite well highlighted on your screenshot here is on top of the enhanced visibility, knowing what changes are going to be made, what amount. You have a fine example here of the bulk select. So, you've reviewed those 8 different selections. You've got them highlighted in purple. You've checked them off. It's, yeah, I agree. In top right-hand corner there, we've got approve 8. So this is just going to improve that speed, the ability to come in and do your billing with confidence. These are the changes I want to make and get her done.
Yeah.
So just, yeah, we're hearing you guys. It's fantastic.
Yes.
So talk about vendor search. Let's see, what's this all about?
Yeah, again, it's the little things that have a big impact. And as we rolled out new integrations with Cronus and Pax8 and all these others, they have a lot of SKUs. And in just the service mapping alone, we found that it was a little cumbersome, and we just threw in a little search there for you on the right hand side, so that way you not only can search from your PSA records on the left, but when it comes to service mapping and scouring across numerous tens, hundreds of services from your vendor, this is where you can quickly hone into those and map those appropriately. So again, small quality of life improvements that go a long way, and just wanted to highlight that because it really does improve the service mapping step. So really kind of expediting that altogether, so you're not having to flip through tens of pages. So roadmap, this is really where I'm really excited to talk about. So if you flip to the next page here, I'm going to talk about the sync status. So as I mentioned earlier, we're making a lot of backend, less sexy improvements to our backend. One in which is just our PSA mini sync. So this is something that I'm most excited about. Again, less sexy of a feature, nothing that you see on the front end necessarily, but it's really designed to boost your confidence when approving updates. And so the whole idea about this PSA mini sync is that we're fracturing the PSA sync into its own kind of modules, so that way we can sync these things appropriately, just in time. So that way, whenever you do come in to Synthesize, regardless if you reconcile sell in the first of the month, in the middle of the month, or the end of the month. It doesn't matter, because by the time you go to log in, we've initiated a PSA mini sync. And again, you're going to see your PSA quantities much more accurate. And again, we're going to add those PSA and vendor syncs tags as well to the list and cart view as well, just to again make sure that you have confidence as to when did my last PSA sync occur, when did my last vendor sync occur, and again, so you're not double flipping back and forth between your integration billing page here. And in doing so, we're actually including the sync status bar, so it's going to be next to the settings drop down at the very top. So that way, again, just quality of life improvements, just bringing those syncs to the forefront, so you can see if there's any sync failures, when the last sync occurred, and you can actually initiate syncs on demand just from this drop down. So really improving that overall. So you can just have at a glance, boom, you can see when things occurred, and again, just increasing that click confidence, so you approve those updates and right back to your PSA, because this is what it's all about. So as you know, billing reconciliation, we're always iterating our platform just to give you greater confidence in making those updates. So I appreciate your feedback, and I'm so happy that this is coming very, very soon. So I'm looking forward to it.
What else is coming soon?
Integrations. This is just a short list. We're probably not sharing with you everything that's on
I
the
can think
table.
of about 5
But
we're not sharing yet on the top of my head, and that's yeah. There's lots coming.
there's lots going, and so this is what I'm able to share with you. But Coro is one. This is an external integration. The folks at Coro have made a fantastic integration that's coming very soon. I don't know if we have an ETA on that just yet, but
Early fall.
early fall. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So the leaves are changing, and so is our application. So there you go. Data. I want to talk about data continuity, specifically about BCDR. Now, we do already have a data continuity integration. This is very focused on total BDR devices, continuity agents, and offsite storage. Now, in working with y'all, we found out real quick that we needed to break out counts of devices by model. So thanks to your feedback, we're actually refactoring our data continuity integration. And yes, this does not include data SaaS protection, but we have a separate integration that's already live, ready for you to connect to. But this is really around BCDR. So again, this is a refactor integration coming very soon, and it will allow you to break out counts of devices by model, which is really important to y'all. So on top of that, I wanted to kind of segue into Ingram Micro after explaining all of our PSA and vendor sync improvements. Again, these are all backend infrastructure changes that will really improve the back end, making way for big distributors like Ingram Micro. And let's face it, they have a ton of SKUs that we are pulling in from Ingram. And what we found in our early stages here is that we need to improve our vendor syncs. So that's kind of dependent on us kind of rolling into Ingram, but that's really exciting. We're really excited to be developing this Ingram Micro cloud marketplace integration. So that's really coming soon. I know there's a lot of Ingram partners out there, so I'm really excited about that. DNS filter. DNS filter is a big one too. This is where, well, all our integrations are big, but DNS filter, this is really when a hot commodity, hot requested integration. The folks at DNS filter have provided us some endpoints for us to retrieve companies and usage and all that good stuff. So this is going to be a really good billing integration coming to the forefront very soon here. And then Malwarebytes. This is another one, really hotly requested integration that we're able to hopefully turn around on relatively quickly here. So we're really excited about all of these integrations.
Right, the logo
It
matter. It's
is
a fun logo. I like it.
I know. I do like it. So lots of great things happening there. And what I want to just mention here is that many integrations that we're working on in the back end that we can't necessarily share, but I want to highlight custom integrations as well. So myself and the success team here at Gradient, we're always trying to fast track these integrations. And in doing so, we're actually creating custom scripts through custom integrations. So leveraging like our TypeScript or PowerShell SDK to fast track these as quote unquote self-hosted integrations in which you host on your local machine or server, virtual machine, whatever it may be. So again, this is our way of fast tracking these things. So things like, creating an integration with ConnectWise Manage or Autotask to retrieve configuration items or contacts. And again, let's face it, you want to use those as your source of truth, but it's very unique to your MSP because of user-defined fields or custom fields or custom contact types and whatnot. So we can build and accommodate your billing needs through these custom integrations. And what does it do? Well, it helps us expedite not only to fit your needs, but kind of opens the door to potentially us supporting these and hosting these ourselves. So we're really excited about that. And aside from that, working with like, Intermedias of the world and the DNHs, we're creating custom scripts. So if you have, a vendor in particular, and they do have a supported API, come talk to us. We want to hear from you because this might be a way for us to expedite this, get this in front of the vendor, go through a proof of concept, and really get this thing in motion. So lots of things happening in behind the scenes. So if you don't see that integration on our list of integrations, it's worth mentioning because they might have an API for us to kind of create a custom integration in a short amount of time and then get that thing in motion. So it eventually gets to a hosted environment where we're hosting it and syncing and have full control over that. So lots of good things happening behind the scene, but those are the ones that we can highlight as of right now. So
Amazing.
Lots of stuff going on.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
So, with that, I wanted to kind of wrap up in saying that I don't think we've even scratched the surface of all that we've done over the summer months, including, most of our team finding some of that time to relax. And as you said, go out to the Okanagan, go see a circus. We've had people
Yes.
go hiking and go camping and, usual summer vacations. And while doing that, we've, launched all these integrations and done all these things. I hope everyone watching has had a fantastic summer as well. But what I really want to highlight is the feedback. So we do have an area in our tool called Flock Talk that is accessible. If you have feedback, if you for some reason are not, speaking to one of us, but have ideas, email us in any way you can, because nothing makes us happier than pushing out feedback and responses and updates to the platform, just to continue to make it flocking awesome. So we'll be back in a few weeks to kind of review September and take a peek into what's coming up this fall. So again, this is Between Two Feathers, a not too serious interview series talking about some important stuff. So until next time, thank you,
Awesome.
Bryan. And this is
Thanks,
Stacey.
Stacey. All right,
Bye-bye.
take care.